Welcome back. Like I said earlier in the program, today we'll be delving into the issue of inclusion of persons with disabilities in governance and processes involved with governance. And also we'll be taking a look at women inclusion in politics and also in governance, taking a look at the 16 days of activism and a host of other issues. I've been joined in the studio now by two guests to do justice to the matter. To my left, I have Honorable Kara Joseph Wakili. He's the Senior Special Assistant on Disability Matters to the Executive Chairman of AMAC. And to my right, I have Udie Grace. She's a Communications Officer with GSAI. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kara, I think we'll begin with you. Let's start with the issues of persons with disabilities as related to governance. What do you think are the challenges or those things hindering that inclusion and carrying along in the processes?
Well, good afternoon. The challenges we are facing in governance, if you look at some years back, since we started advocating on the issues of inclusion of persons with disability in governance, I think it's drastically slowing down. And we have started having inclusiveness in the government. Let me talk about my own, where I'm representing. In this present administration in Abuja Municipal Area Council, the Honorable Christopher Zaka Mekalangu, he has the belief in persons with disability. Right from the campaign structure, he appointed me to be one of the campaign stakeholders, and he sees the abilities in persons with disabilities. At the end of the elections, he was able to give 5% of the appointment. And if you come to the decision making in area council now, we have persons with disability that are decision making. If you come down to supervisor councillors and so on. So we have persons with disability that are also occupying the spaces. Coming down to my positions, before now we would have not have anything that senior special assistant. Then there was nothing like that. But in this administration, the chairman has appointed 2 persons with disability, the senior special assistant and the junior special assistant on the disability matter. Where we come in together, the first time I was appointed, we sat and discussed with him. I told him that I'm not just coming here for just my salary. I'm here for a voice for my people. And believe me, by now, the chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council is the persons with disability in Abuja Municipal Area Council are well taken care of with persons with it comes to AMAC chairman. But we still need more. We still need more. In terms of employment, he also considered that. And there are some things, people that are not educated, there are people that don't have school cert, then let's look at them and give them empowerment. So that from there, we are bringing them to the hope, and which the chairman is still on the process doing that. And in gender, our women with disabilities, some of them that they are engaged in the salon and other activities, the chairman promised to make them to live independent on themselves, which is going to provide such facilities for them so that they can be independent on themselves. All
right, so this means there's things happening. It's good to have you here because whenever we talk about PWDs, there's always such a great focus on the national scene, on what's happening on the federal level. But what you're speaking about now is on the grassroots.
Yes, it's grassroots.
Would you say it's happening all around, or is this sort of for AMAC at the moment?
This thing, they have started implementing it in other 6 area councils. But we still have 3 area councils that left behind that have not appointed persons with disability, which still, as an activist, we have taken it over. And thank Mrs. Adora. She has, with the courtesy advocates visiting that we have go around, it is helping it to achieve these goals with her. So I call the government and the agencies, they should also look at it with this, the remaining 6 area councils. They should also implement what the AMAC chairman is doing. Other area councils they have not appointed, but the remaining we have Kuje, Gogolada, Kuje, Abaji, they have not. But if it comes to Kwali and Buhari area council, they have essay, and I don't know about other appointees. Have they come to the tax? Before, as I'm speaking to you, they say seeing is believing. If you come to AMAC now, I can show you who that are occupying spaces that are persons with disabilities.
All right, you said something that when you were getting the appointment, you said that it's not just about salary.
It's not just about salary.
So that's a concern here, because speaking generally, there are certain positions when it comes to politics or governance, even the youth's position or the woman position, particularly in political parties, it's given to people and they are sort of made to sit aside, and they say, you know, you are for youths, so you can't make decisions when general. So I'd like to know, the progress that has been made so far, is it allowing a voice to be heard, or is it just tokenism where they appoint people but you don't let them have impact to speak and to have a direct say in policy making?
No, that's what I'm saying. We have the decision makers who they can't do without them in area council. Those people that are occupying a powerful positions. If you come to the Supervisor Council of Environment, the chairman cannot do anything without him. Some have about 3 to 4. He appointed them. And in any decision making, they are also there. Even I, as I'm speaking to you, chairman also consult me. What can we do for our persons with disability? Like as I'm speaking to you, by tomorrow or before weekends, the chairman is going to celebrate the International Day for Persons with Disability. Yesterday was the International Day for Persons with Disability.
Yeah.
So the chairman has embarked on it. And before, there was nothing like that.
Right. Thank you so much. I still want to hear specifics of the advocacies. You know, you are seeking for some changes that you actually want. But just before that, let's allow Ms. Grace join the conversation. With your work in Gender Strategy Advancement International, I'm sure you are more aware of a lot of the issues involved when it comes to women participation. What would you also say when it comes to women, hindrances or obstacles to women being involved in policy making, decision making?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
I would like to say that for a society to thrive, it has to be accountable. And for accountability to be achieved, there has to be inclusion, right? So this is me saying that we have to be deliberate about including women in decision makings in the country, because it is their right as human beings and as citizens to be able to make or be part of decision making processes, and to also hold those positions in government, right? I would also say that based on so many advocacies we've gone for in the rural level. Women have come out to say that they are being used when it is time for election, and politicians come out to say, okay, I'll do this for you. They make promises. I'll do this for you. I'll put you in this position. I'll do this, do that. But when they get there, when they get what they want, they abandon them. This is not supposed to be this is not supposed to be what is to happen in governance, right? Because we are being inclusive. Everybody has to be taken along. So if a man can have a position in governance, why can a woman not have that? We're not saying that the men should step down for the women to take over. We're only saying that it is okay for women and men to have equal participation in governance. This gives room for women's voices to be heard. There are so many challenges they are going through, but if they have a representative in governance, their voices will be heard. Those concerns will be fixed. They would participate in decision making that affects them and the general public.
Sorry, it's the question I'm about to ask shouldn't be something that is necessary, to be said, but sometimes we have to break things down for those who might not be aware.
Okay.
So what exactly would you say women's participation in governance, how does it contribute to inclusion and effective decision making? I ask because, we have certain mindsets that we try to disabuse people of when it comes to things related to women. So maybe this will help when they know what exactly the impact will be when women are given that opportunity. Okay.
So let me use an example. I am a woman with an issue, maybe in the health sector. I have, I'm sick in a particular way, and I go to the hospital, or rather, let me say I'm pregnant. I go to the hospital and I need attention from the nurses. I need attention from the doctors in that field, in that area, and they are rude to me, right? And they're not taking my concerns personal. Sometimes because they are men, right? And if I can express myself to a fellow gender, I think it would be more understandable, right? It applies to governance, right? There are so many people that want to be heard in different aspects, different areas. So if they are expressing themselves to a man, right? I'm not saying that the men will not do anything about it, but it takes one to be in your shoes, or it takes one like you to understand exactly what you want. It takes one who faces the same challenges you do to understand that, okay, this is really important to you. And that is why we're saying that women's representation in governance is really important. It's really important in the sense that their voices will be heard, right? Their voices will be heard and they'll be carried along. There's a saying that women have like unique ideas and thoughts and all that to contribute in the development of a community and a society, right? So I think that if women are placed in these positions, there will be change. All the change we are seeking for, it's not just one, it's not a woman's responsibility. It's collective. So if all the thoughts are put together, change will happen.
That's fair enough. In any of this, is it necessary? I don't know if that's the right word. Perhaps is it also, does it become very relevant to also include other marginalized groups? Take for instance, is it a case where PWDs have to work in isolation and women work in isolation, or is there a room for collaboration? Seeing that it seems as though there's this almost, will I call it, targeted move to exclude these groups from things?
Actually, when I started, I said for accountability to be achieved, there has to be inclusion. I'm not talking about inclusion just for women. I'm talking about inclusion for persons with disabilities. I'm talking about inclusion for people who are vulnerable in society. I'm talking about inclusion for even those who are dominant in society. And why will people be dominating? It's not. It's not. Everybody has to be carried along, right? So I'm not excluding people with disabilities from what I am saying. I'm only saying that the government should give room for everybody to be carried along in the decision-making processes, in everything that concerns the citizens of a country. You can't say that a particular group of people will sit down and make decisions that are affecting people who cannot even assess these decisions, right? We can say that, okay, there's a budget for this particular rural community and it has been disbursed. Now, who follows up for that budget to be disbursed to the community? Because sometimes they might be giving out, as in the budget might be sent out to these people, but it doesn't get to them. But if somebody from their community is involved in this process, you'll be sure that it will get to them, at least, even if everything is working in contradiction, because sometimes some people will just for their personal gains and all, but it's better for you to have one person, at least from the communities, to represent them in governance for that aim to be achieved. That's
fair enough. So let's go back to you, Mr. Kara. What strategies do you think can be employed to ensure inclusion in governance?
In terms of RAMs. RAMs,
okay.
The increase, you know, before Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, he has signed into our disability law that all the public building must be inclusive. Such RAM lifts, even the public transport should also be inclusiveness. If you take some pedestrian bridges, we don't have much in Nigeria. If I should say the one I just know in area 3, the person with disability or wheelchair users can be able to access it, but the rest are not accessible for persons with disability. And some offices, like somebody will ask you, a wheelchair users or a blind or somebody that is sleeping, to come to the 3rd floor, then imagine how such person can move to that place. Or somebody on wheelchair, how will that such thing be done? Like as I'm talking about in my locality, that is Amak in itself. Presently, the chairman just passed a bill for a RAM. Before now, they are not accessible to his office. But the first day he shed tears when he saw some of my members that came to see him. He was like, wow, is there anything to be done? I quickly drew his attention to our disability act. And he was okay. Immediately he called the works that led them, what can this be done? As I'm speaking to you, by January or March, February, it will be launched. It will be fixed, the disability, the RAMs, where you can access other offices. So, but in my own locality, I think it's only few that yes, you know, somebody cannot be 100%. But the chairman, I'm still calling on him to look at some issues, like in terms of employment section. We have 5% in every employment, but education, health, because we have graduate.
Are you advocating for 5%, or
yes,
you want more?
I want more. No, it's only 5% we have. But if that should be done more than that, okay. we have said because we have a graduate. We have graduates that are outside there. Some of our persons with disability. As I'm speaking to you, I'm a graduate. NC. So we have many of them like that. Education, health, doctors, and and so on. There is no thing that person with disability cannot do. So by the time you are including them in your policy, they will feel a sense of belonging. Like when Chairman appointed me, he also believed that there are many people also that are also under me, apart from the persons with disability. So that is how you give a person with disability a sense of belonging. I don't know that you understand.
Yes, that's very fair enough, and I believe it's something that a lot of persons need to start, or there needs to be what would I call it, more enlightenment, so people know that they're actually lacking in certain areas. So back to you, Ms. Grace. I'd like to get your thoughts on we're in the 16 days of activism, that span which began on November 25th.
Yeah.
So I'd like you to speak on that. How issues bordering on gender-based violence hinders women or has an effect on women participation in politics and governance.
All right, I would look at the view of women with disabilities, because it's very important to me and to us as an organization. Inclusion is important to us, so I'll look at it from that angle. So there are so many barriers, right? And so many thoughts on gender-based violence against women, especially against women with disabilities. You know, gender-based violence is not just physical, it's mental, it's psychological. So the perpetrators might not even know that they are being violent to someone, and then the words of the mouth too can be violent to a point. So one of the barriers to, or rather one of the challenges women with disabilities face is stereotypes, right? They feel that people in society don't rate them. Let me use that word. They don't carry them along. They sideline them, possibly with use of words. And they are very scared to come out to say how they feel, because they feel that their dependents would stop giving them care, and also there will be laughing stocks in society, right? So these are ways they feel left behind, and it's violent actually. So I'm actually seeking for the society to take actions against gender-based violence, because you don't even know who you're hurting. People actually feel hurt just by mere words from your mouth, and you just feel you're saying something. You don't know you're hurting someone. So
is this also the case for women who are politicians and try to seek these positions,
yes,
elected positions,
you know,
also suffering?
Yes, they are like societal norms that would always stigmatize women and say that some of these politicians, because you're a woman, you're a prostitute, or you can't hold family together. Forgive me for saying that, but this is actually not the case, because I want to stand out, because I want to come out to defend people who are having difficulties in the society. It doesn't make me any less a human, right? So with your thoughts on gender-based violence, women will just go back to their shell, because they feel they cannot do anything in society that is meaningful, because society has already placed them in that angle of you're meant for the family, you're meant for the lower. You cannot sit on the table when men are making decisions. That shouldn't be the case. That's being violent to a human being. Like, what rights do you have that I don't have as a woman? It's painful sometimes to say these things, but it is what it is, you know.
All right. Mr. Kara, I don't know if you have anything to add there, particularly with a situation where someone is a woman and also a person with disability. Does it become even extra difficult to be included in all of these, and how do you think it can change?
What my sister have just said, most of the women with disability, what they are facing is times 3.
Mm.
Why I'm saying so, I have a mentor, because I call her my mentor. She's a person on wheelchair, a woman. She have run for 2 times. The first time she ran in Abuja, House of Representatives.
Mm.
And with the consultation so far, because I was one that was taking her around for the consultation, some people having that discrimination. Oh, what can she do after she's a woman? And that sentiment that our people think, maybe by the time, before now, they thought maybe some persons with disability, they are nothing. Even my society. Sometimes, because I was not born in this nature, I started having some kind of, listening for some ways. By now, I would have been at home. But then, I just said no. I saw the disability as a bridge to my success.
Yeah.
I didn't look at all these ways. I have to start my primary 1 again, because this thing happened to me when I was in primary 2 in 92. So since then, I have to start my primary 1, 99. You see the gap of the ages. I didn't look at that, but now I have people that I have graduated them in my computer centers. I have people that I have mentors. Come to when I was contesting, such mental thinking was there. When I come across to this woman that I'm telling you, her name is Lois Auta. When such thing was going, I say I have overheard such things. So I didn't take that as anything. We're just moving. But God's time is the best. She didn't get that at the point. And she went to her state and contested for House of Assembly. This just election that just concluded. So, and she didn't got it again. So, and if in that mentality, because I call it mentality, that some people does not believe in persons with disability, and believe me, times will come, some years to come, persons with disability will rule this government in Nigeria, and we'll see the better change.
Indeed. We all hope to see that.
Yes.
When we get that, it will show very clearly that we've reached a level of inclusion that is,
of course,
very advanced, and I hope we get there. I'm sorry we've run out of time now, but I do hope we can always continue this conversation and continue the advocacy consistently again and again. Even after the 16 days, we'll always be here to speak on the issues that need to be heard. Thank you so much, Ms. Grace. Thank you so much, Mr. Kara, for coming.
Thank you for
having me. That's all we'll take on this segment of the program. We'll go on a short break, bring you more reports. When we return, we will be discussing the issues on the state of the nation, particularly President Tinubu's trip to COP28, and also other issues bordering on the presentation of the budget. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.